We made it to... Oh, can you hear the squeak? We made it to Friday. I just picked some cards for myself and sit in one place, stay in one place. It doesn't help when I move around a lot. What's going on? Oh, oh, that's sitting up so high. All right, let's see. That's less squeaking. There we go. Oh, that's so uncomfortable. I love this chair. It's a little standalone meditation chair that a Sifu of mine got me from Mindful Wing Chun. It's been one of my favorite little sit and set up anywhere chairs. Oh, happy Friday, guys. I pulled some cards. Well, I was going to pull a card for myself, and three flipped out in this exact order, which I find very interesting. So I read them for myself, but the one I want to share for you is the middle one. But the three that came out that I think is very fitting in terms of what's happening along this journey at the moment for myself and for a lot of others in that peer circle that we kind of talk about a lot. You know, I always mention you need to have these three groups of people. You've got to have your mentors above you, your peers that you're learning from and just in the trenches with, and then the people underneath, not underneath, but the people that you are teaching and that you are actually providing these concepts to, or, you know, your clients, basically. Three that popped out. My goodness, guys. Guidance, courage, and morality. I actually don't know if those turn the wrong way around because this is a front-facing camera when I check it, but let's see. So yeah, very interesting because I've been definitely speaking with my guides and connecting with them over the last couple of years a lot more. I think as soon as Dad actually passed away and he was on the other side, I've never felt more of a connection to the other side. I think that goes for a lot of people that experience close deaths and things in the family. Not everybody. My heart does go out to the people that have nothing on the other side, you know, that feel like once loved ones have left, they've gone or they've left them forever. Yeah, like I said, it's been absolutely miraculous actually how much I've felt Dad around and been chatting with him and been, you know, working with him and my angel team and just the universe in general. I think we're very quick to stick with some of these labels and these morals, and it actually came up in that morality card about labeling what is sinful, what is right, what is wrong, what is this, what is that, and it's that constantly looking outwards to give you any of this information, and so much of this is found within, and then seeing what actually shows up on the outside. I think it's just a different cycle of how you actually approach the universe and go through life, but cultivating that internal compass has been one of the biggest, I guess, missions since having my spine surgery and stepping back from the agency and then diving down this whole personal branding rabbit hole and really getting to the crux of what is the practical steps to get people through this, because I think it's one of the hardest parts of all of this journey. You know, the people that you're seeing online, and especially the ones that are getting louder and louder, they've been in it for so long. And I don't like it when I see comments of people going, oh, and you've lost touch with, you know, this reality. And it's like, no, they've just shifted into a very different world of how things operate. They've learned those skills. They've trusted themselves. They've been brave enough to go out and do it for themselves and test it and find it and figure it out and ask themselves the questions and go through the shit of building and learning and trying and doing. And you only get the results when you've done the work. Like, I do find this an interesting concept as well of the whole, you know, things were handed to you. It's like, yes, certain things can be handed to certain people, but at the same time, in order to keep it going, there are certain, well, I don't know, there are some pretty fucking useless people out in this world that seem to live great, so who knows, maybe I'm just chatting shit on that one. But this kind of three thing, I'm just going to read a little bit actually from each, maybe not from each. It was the courage card that really I actually wanted to share. I love this card. You can see as well, it always reminds me when I see plants that have grown through rocks in nature. It, blows my mind that they're, one, that they're even there, but two, that they've managed to grow in such an unfriendly environment. All right, so it says this card shows a small wildflower that has met the challenges of the rocks and stones in its path to emerge into the light of day. Surrounded by an aura of bright golden light, it exposes the majesty of its tiny self. Unashamed, it is equal to the brightest sun. When we are faced with a very difficult situation, we have a choice. We can either be resentful, trying to find somebody or something to blame for the hardships, or we can face the challenge and grow. The flower shows us the way. The flower shows us the way as its passion for life leads it out of the darkness and into the light. There is no point fighting against the challenges of life or trying to avoid or deny them. They are there, and if the seed is to become the flower, we must go through them. Be courageous enough to grow into the flower you are meant to be. I'll actually read the rest of this because this actually hits the nail on the head, okay? For the creator journey. You ready? The seed cannot know what is going to happen. The seed has never known the flower. And the seed cannot even believe that he has the potentiality to become a beautiful flower. Long is the journey, and it is always safer not to go on that journey because unknown is the path. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing can be guaranteed. 1,001 are the hazards of the journey. Many are the pitfalls, and the seed is secure, hidden inside a hard core. But the seed tries. It makes an effort. It drops the hard shell, that is its scarce security. It starts moving. Immediately the fight starts. The struggle with the soil, with the stones, with the rocks. The seed was very hard, and the sprout will be very, very soft, and the dangers will be many. There was no danger for the seed. The seed could have survived for millennia, but for the sprout, the dangers are many. But the sprout starts towards the unknown, towards the sun, towards the source of light. Not knowing where, not knowing why, great is the cross to be carried, but a dream possesses the seed, and the seed moves. The same is the path for man. It is arduous, much courage will be needed. Much courage will be needed. And now I've mentioned Shoshana Raven on many of these episodes. She's one of the other 8-figure business mentors and ladies that I've been jumping into her Money March challenges over the last 2 years, and then the last 2 years also the Obsessed challenge that she puts on. And her book, The Limit Does Not Exist, goes through these different acts of what she calls building up, becoming a life artist, basically. But so much of that and so much of her entire ethos is living brave. And it's that having the courage to be curious in a world that wants to just shut you down and put you in an office. Having the courage to be happy and to go and create joy in a world that is fucking miserable. She coined this term. It was brilliant. I remember when I heard it, it's like there was a war on happy people. And I could not agree more. And I think a lot of coming out of some of these different zones and finding more groups of people where there are a lot more people that believe in things that I thought this group of people or this world. It's very interesting. It's very interesting as you start to shuffle out of these things, especially because it's not a day and night transition, but it's this gradually, slowly, and then suddenly all at once. And the more that you can push your stone up that hill to get yourself over the point of no return, in that sense of what you believe, of finding people who you see out there that you've known that have done it, I feel like it's almost the research that I was going on and the rabbit holes that I was going on, I was proving to myself that no matter what circumstances you found, no matter what excuses you thought, there was somebody out there that had overcome it, done it, and then got to a point where you were still thinking it was not for you. And that's that, 10K, 20K, 30K, 1,000 months. What's crazy to me now as I move through all this stuff is that this cycle of the want of the money with the lack of looking at how to actually build the person of the capacity for doing it blows my mind. And I think it's been really humbling and really grounding again, just to go back into the gym and remind myself and remind my clients and just remind people in general, if you want a goal, there are certain things that you have to become a certain person that can take that goal. You don't automatically get it just because you want it, but wanting it is the start, and then finding out the pieces of the puzzle of who you actually have to become in order to do that. It's like me wanting to do a body weight deadlift. I can't just rock up into the gym and do that fresh off of a spine surgery without having trained. But to make sure that I work my way up to that, I can build my legs, I can build my core, I can build my back, I can go into the gym. And it just, again, reminded me one of my good friends, Flexibility Pixie on Instagram, Nix. She's an absolute gem. I cannot wait to meet her in person as well. We've been friends since way back in the real movement days. Gosh, that was before Knees Over Toes and Range of Strength separated into their own little groups and did a whole thing. If you were around for the real movement days, write a comment, say hi. Once is never when it comes to reps, and finding a program where you can know that the reps that you're doing builds you. It was the hardest thing when I was doing my spine recovery and research and everything, to know what was correct. I think that was the most mind-boggling thing. It's like, yes, the information is out there. Yes, you can kind of self-diagnose, but we're also not very good at self-diagnosing ourselves, because the things that we so blatantly overlook that everybody else can see, we very quickly see in other people, but we don't very quickly point that mirror back on ourselves, especially in the areas that we're not looking at it because it's too much. We all do it. We're all very good at doing certain things in certain areas, and it's funny when the same principles apply across the board. It's amazing how quickly we don't then apply it to other things. I say that a lot when I meet more of these people who have chosen fitness as their career and their passion. They're the rare that live and breathe it, you know, like James Smith PT, like Lucas Hardy, who's Range of Strength, like Flexibility Pixie, like some of these guys. And this is where I realized that becoming a personal trainer full-time was never my calling, because I never loved the knowledge enough to do the research for that, to help people with that. It was more the mindset, it was more the confidence, it was more the coaching after that I really enjoyed. Like being a coach and taking people, doesn't mean I can't do it, doesn't mean I can't bring you through and get you to your push-ups or get you to your pull-ups or get you to the goal that you need. Again, it's amazing how we overcomplicate this stuff where, you know, point A, point B, what's the road, what's the ladder that we have to build? Okay, go do the reps. Now go do the reps for long enough for people to actually notice. Not 2 weeks and then stop. Not 4 weeks and then wonder why, you know, nobody's come or nobody's done anything. It's like, how entitled do you have to think how entitled do you have to be to assume that you can get away with doing a month's worth of work and then receive a decade's worth of results? And again, what's insane is that this internet makes that possible. But I find that the people that usually make it possible, again, sort of cycling back to that Jessie Jean challenge where she managed to do her I think it totaled to 7 point something million. Now she's even starting to create a series of what's going to happen with that money and where it's going to go and all that sort of stuff. So that's amazing, but people have now been breaking this down. And she had training in front of the camera, training in front of, doing all of this. It's like, does that negate what she did? No. But it's amazing how people focus on the overnight success, and that's what they're grasping. And they will overlook the fact that she did all of this work. Or then they decide to get on the bandwagon of, oh, well, that's not overnight because she did all this work. It's like, yeah, she's been doing this work for years, so she deserves a fucking break. Like, isn't that how you want to also earn your break? Like, it's very interesting, the pettiness and I don't know. It blows my mind sometimes. But I think, again, coming into this group, like finding Dan, Dakota, and J.K. Molina, I think was my saving grace. Those three motherfuckers. My goodness. I've literally learned something from all three of them. And even all three of them have had pieces and ways that they operate that are so different that even that blows my mind. Like, they all still manage to achieve a similar outcome in such different models with such different personality types. And even now, circling back, there are things of, gaps of being filled that others have done that others haven't. And where am I going with this? I was going somewhere. I did have a point. Let me have some tea. I was getting excited. That was it. Starting in those communities. So Danco, Digital Economics, was the first one I jumped into. Dakota Robinson's Growth Ghosts, the ghostwriting agency, learning to become a ghostwriter for other people, was the second one I jumped into. And then J.K. Molina, I've been purchasing his webinars and things across the board. He's the one that I've got the Sidekick bots built out of. So he's the meta cachy version of my bots and sidekicks. And so building and learning and growing from that, I'm very excited to be jumping into his inner circle group again when I get back from the mountains to develop those. Because again, getting out of their little inner circle for a while after I've launched them and built them for a bit, it's amazing how things can quickly sway. And, I sit there looking at all these different rabbit holes that I can jump down, and it's like, it's great, I don't mind, but there are certain ones that when you know what you need to do and you know that a mentor has the answer, it is much easier to ask for the answer than it is to dive down months that could turn into years, that could turn into decades of research that you could solve and then go find another rabbit hole to dive down. This is why I love the fact that my sister does the charts and that she's such a geek with all of those, because I know that she's dove down those rabbit holes, and I know that what she's putting out is not half-baked or half-assed or surface-level shit that she's just pulled off of Google and gone, oh yeah, here's your story. It's like, no, man, she knows this stuff inside and out, and the readings that she does because of her as the human being and her life experiences and what she's been able to do, she pulls out different things than other readers would. Not all coaches are created equal. Not all readers are created equal. Not all mentors are created equal. Not all this is, like, there are so many different types of people and types of experts within certain fields. It's like, when you want something solved, go find the person that can actually do it, but also don't just take at face value somebody saying, I can do it. Like, make sure, look, see if they've got the track record, see if they've got things, because it's so easy, especially in this day and age, where the only experience that people have had is copying and pasting something from the person behind them. And at the moment, it's even getting to the point where that's 2 or 3 removed from the original source, which means you've been sold a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy by someone who's known or been able to copy and paste and publish a site. Not understand nuance, understand pattern recognition, have had X amount of experience with X amount of clients so that when you come in, they know exactly, or they have been, if not in exactly the same situation, in something so similar that their advice applies to you. I'm also realizing more and more now that the biggest thing that you're actually paying for with mentors and coaches in these groups and these close containers, and why they're so fucking expensive, is because you're paying for people to tell you what to worry about, what not to worry about, and the bits in between that nobody says. Like, the amount of information that there is on content creation out there, half of which I would not recommend to most of my clients. And again, depending on what you say to me, a majority of it is not relevant. Like, if you haven't already done certain things, there is no need for you to be posting daily, having 5 different fucking accounts if you're not even going to be keeping up with it. For what? For why? Maybe you don't need to. Maybe you do. Maybe that's your goal. But unless we have a chat, what? Like, this blanket advice, I think we've gone so far into blanket advice that people are just craving a bit of attention that's not just brushed off as, oh yeah, here's a framework, just copy and paste and do it and you'll be fine. And I don't know if that's because we like to make it more complicated, or we like to think that we're all such special snowflakes and that we need to have our own unique way of doing it, even when it's all same but different. It makes me laugh, that too. But that, you have to find your own courage to figure that shit out. And especially as you go up these ranks and up these ladders, because everybody will be putting in their 2 cents. Everybody's going to be telling you how you should be running your business, how you should be doing this, how you should be doing that. And it is so easy still to then go down the line and suddenly realize that you're running something or a machine that's suddenly gotten out of hand, that then what? It's burning you out, the person that was supposed to do, like, love all of this, from what? Based off of someone's side comment about, oh, that's not how you should do it. Or a carousel that's got you stuck on, this is how you should do it, when it's really not for your business and your setup and what you're trying to achieve. It's amazing. It really is. It does blow my mind how many times we can bang our own heads against a brick wall before we learn our lessons. There's that hilarious saying, right? The universe will keep presenting you with the same opportunities dressed up in different ways until you've learned your lesson. So, if you keep coming up against the same problems again and again and again, take a look at what's going on here, because the common denominator tends to be you that keeps showing up. All right, and as long as you keep approaching things in the same way and the same thing, and say, like, you will keep repeating this. You want different outcomes, different inputs and outputs. We are but simple machines. That was a fun actual playlist if you ever want to have a listen to that. Scott Adams, he did the Dilbert comics, and Kira the Dawn remixed a playlist of one of his podcast episodes on how his theory of the user face of reality, the interface of reality. It's very interesting about the fact that we're all putting on these glasses and filters, and it's the filters and the glasses that we put on that then renders the reality in front of us. Again, interesting that Naval actually doesn't agree with that completely in terms of, I think Scott Adams' theory of, is history there, or is it revealing itself as we go find it? That was that kind of World of Warcraft analogy that I was saying the other day, where, you walk into a thing and suddenly it appears. It's like, are we living in a world with that as the reality, or is it different to that? And then anyway, very interesting. But it still hits that concept of, same as Shoshana, be, do, have, same as what everybody's saying about, the law of attraction. You don't just get to, fingers crossed, close your eyes and pray that it fucking shows up. Like, what are you doing to make it show up? And if you're not the one doing it, same as like I say for content, same as like I say for marketing, if it's really not something that you enjoy doing or want to have any part of, which again blows my mind when it's the story, it's the voice, it's the philosophy of your brand, find people who care about it enough to put your voice, your company, and your brand online. This is exactly why Legacy Builder exists. It is a ghostwriting company for founders. They don't want to sit there and write their own profile posts, but they also don't want to just have shit going out on a personal brand after they've built an entire decade of reputations. Like, that's a delicate thing to deal with. And the way that the legacy guys do it, I guess the sidekicks in the way that I help the solopreneurs, it's always on just a different scale, right, of how you do it. But it's the same thing. They have to interview the things. They have to pull out their stories. They have to find their stuff. Then they have to weave it together, and then they have to approve it. Like, you're still part of the process. But if you don't want to do it and you don't want to find the tools or build an in-house team, go find an outhouse, an outhouse team that will actually be able to do that for you and build it into the budget. Because it's like, what do you want, the results of the sales? But because we're moving into a time now where your distribution and your digital footprint is your currency, and you get to build your own island and your own moat around it, that if you build that up big enough, no one can fucking touch you, honestly. No one can touch you. The connections only get deeper. You then get invited into bigger and bigger rooms, and all because you had the audacity to start talking online about what you do, the courage to keep saying it, the courage to keep, like, it's a sneaky one. It's a very sneaky one. All right, we're going to wrap up today for Friday, but man, am I excited. We've got 2 more weeks. So I've got 10 more episodes after this before we go offline. We're going offline for 3 weeks. I think during that time I might do some little shorts, build those up on my stories again, but I'm not going to be putting any pressure on myself to do this kind of sit-down video during that time. I'll wait till I get back. But yeah, it's getting real, man. Like, set the date, book the thing, put it in the diary. Like, I cannot believe that this year as well, we got married, South Africa, high rocks, got the new job, clients, mountains, like, when you decide and when you do, things move faster than you can ever imagine. And that's the hack that people are looking for. But the doing, the doing will take a while. So that's the thing. The overnight success is overnight, but it's how many reps does it take to get that overnight success? You've got to keep doing the reps until it ticks over, until your day ticks over from one day to another, that you've become the sprout, you've sprouted from the seed, you've grown through, you've become the flower. Like, become the flower, become courageous enough. This is where I say as well, the mind, the movement, the media, the mental health, the physical health, the soul health. Become the most beautiful, the most fun, the most calm, the most peaceful, the most healthy, the most joyful, become the best version of you. We all have these bodies that we get to operate. Like, it blows my mind when I see some of the things that these calisthenics guys can do, these gymnastics guys can do. Like, yes, understand human bodies are all built different, but we're all made of the same raw stuff. You get to play with this. You get to change it. You get to go out there and build something. Again, I always come back to the exercise, but go do something hard first in your own body for yourself, and then go tackle the world. Because it does make it a lot easier and a lot more fun when you're feeling energetically and, able to do it, and you're not feeling like it's going to take you 5 days to recover from doing something brave. All right? Be brave. That's all I've got to say. That's it. Happy Friday. I'll see you guys next week.